This is a Salem Now special. You know, folks, I believe quite a few months back, I told you we would be, where there's so much going on in Salem. As you know, Salem's a happening place. That we would probably be bringing you a lot of Salem Now specials. Well, we have been doing just that. And again, tonight we have another one for you, a young man from Salem. His name is Matt Frazier. He's going to join me tonight on the set of Salem Now, and we're going to talk about time banking. He gave me a book that he wrote, and I hope you get it, the book. I know I get what he's talking about. It's excellent. I know when I first thought about the time banking, I thought about the barter system. It really does have a little bit to do about that. We're going to let Matt take the table, the Salem Now table, and he's going to bring you all that information at home, which we hope you will enjoy. So again, I'm Leo Joden for Salem Now and on the road with Salem Now. Please join Matt Frazier and myself for a night of talking about time banking. Stay with us.
You're watching Salem Now with your host, Leo Joden. Since 1997, Salem Now has been working hard to inform, educate, and entertain the viewers of Salem.
Welcome back, folks. Well, I just want to get one important thing out to my graphics engineer, David Moyes, and of course my guest had to, like everybody else, everybody's busy, and my guest got here a little later than he expected. But David, I believe if you can put this into the credits occasionally, Salem TimeBank.
TimeBankSalem.org.
TimeBankSalem.org. So if you can get that in there, David, we'd appreciate it. Well, first of all, I want to welcome you to the show, Matt.
Hi.
I know we've talked over the years.
Yeah.
Here and there.
Yeah.
But you have a very interesting idea here. I knew about it before the book. I think I remember. Was it in the Gazette?
Yeah, it was in March 10th or March 17th, around that.
Of this year, 2012 or 11?
Of this year, yeah.
Of this year.
Yeah.
I know. I read it. A lot of times I see something, I start reading it, and I just blow it off, and you know, it doesn't matter. But I found it very interesting.
Yeah.
Not thinking that we would be sitting down tonight talking about it.
Yeah.
And but just for our friends out there, I always like to start the show by giving a little bit about your background.
Oh, okay. Well, I've lived, in January I will have lived in Salem for 7 years. People say, are you from Salem? I'm getting to the point I'm not really sure what to say, because my mother was born in Salem. My grandfather had his business in Salem. I grew up in Brookline, but I lived there 12 years, so
right.
I'm already at 7 here, and when I from 0 to 5, does that even count? I don't know. So I don't know.
We won't go there on that one.
So I'm lived here for a while anyway. So I should start by saying that I'm a language teacher. I teach Spanish and German. Privately, I've actually taught in 3 of the Salem grammar schools, the Salt and Stall, the Bowdish, and the Horace Mann at some point, doing little language programs. But I should start by saying the Time Bank is not my idea.
Okay.
I didn't think of that.
Okay.
I saw a program on PBS called Fixing the Future. It was 2 hours of ideas about local economy and the way that really depressed neighborhoods were responding and bouncing back. And my friend Chrissy called me all excited, Matt, you have to turn to PBS, and I did. And I think that was almost 2 years ago, and so she knew I was writing about ideas and things. And
well, I noticed that by reading what I read here in the book, you gave me some pointers on what points of interest that you wanted to steer me in, and I went there. Trust me, I thank you for that, because it makes, as you know, folks at home, I've always said it, it feels like 10 minutes up here when you're doing a half-hour show, but it does mention in here where this is this isn't just in Salem, it's everywhere.
Yeah, no, there was a guy named Edgar Kahn who wrote a book, I don't know if it was about 15 years ago, it was called No Throwaway People, and he was talking about how everyone has something to contribute and how the economy has to reflect that, and so that there's really no reason for people to be at home with nothing to do, isolated, getting depressed with their health decline.
I read that in the book.
Yeah, and so the time bank movement is actually a little bit bigger in the UK right now than it is in the US, but it's taking off. There are 7, well, when I founded the Salem Time Bank, we got our charter in January this year. We were the 7th, and I know of at least one more that's cropped up since then, one in South Dartmouth, and then I bet within 5 or 10 years there'll be 30 or 40 or 50.
I know, it talks about Maine.
Yeah.
And
The Hour Exchange in Portland is sort of the gem of the New England time banks. There even people are trading time dollars for health care. They have a health care clinic up there.
I read that,
They're
I thought that was pretty good. I mean, the way you explain in the book, before I go finish with my answer or question, however you want to look at it,
Yeah.
is this book for sale?
Yeah.
And it's they can find it on the website, the address I just gave out. Hopefully David is going to.
Oh, I don't sell my own book on the site. You can get it on Amazon or Barnes & Noble.
Okay.
Or actually, Spirit of 76 has it too.
Okay, and it's called Ideas for America.
Yeah, Let the Sun In.
Let the Sun In.
Yeah.
Okay. Gee, that sounds like an old song I remember. Let the Sun In.
Yeah. Well, the idea is that, the problems are so complicated in this world, and the more I dig and the deeper I dig, I found that a lot of times the problems aren't all that complicated.
I was just going to say that. Yeah. A lot of people, and some of them are very smart, make them more complicated than it can be. But I will say, I love the example you use in here, and by trying to use a certain individual or a person who would be using time banking.
Yeah.
You use a carpenter, and that's what I am. That's how I earn my living.
Yeah.
I'm a carpenter, 45 years.
Yeah.
And
the first time you told me that, I was trying to do the math. It was 45 years.
I was very young when I started. And we'll let the people at home figure out the rest of the years, and then you've got my age right on. Well, as a matter of fact, the Salem News, they put it in the paper anyways, wishing me a happy birthday. Yeah. But, excuse me. Okay, so for our friends at home, what is time banking all about?
Okay, well, I'll start by saying how it works. Time banking is a close cousin of bartering, but it differs. Bartering would be I do something for you for an hour, you do something for me for an hour. That's it. There's no third party. A time bank is if we were both members of the same time bank, I did something for you for an hour, and then I would get a time dollar, but I could take my hour back from anybody in the group.
Right.
So I might not need carpentry. Somebody else might be offering web design. Somebody else might be offering, I don't know, show me how to use a program. So, so I'm trying to get the system going here in Salem. I restrict, by the way, membership to people who live, work, or study in Salem. My hope is that people in other towns and surrounding towns will start their own time banks. In my opinion, every town should have one. So the first point is that that's how it differs from barter. It's between everyone in the entire group.
Right. It's not like you have to pay back the individual that just did something for you.
Yeah.
Like you said about me, you didn't need any carpentry, and all of a sudden you break your toilet seat, and I have to go in there and install your new one for you. Well, then you would be contacting me back.
Yeah.
And we could work out the time banking that way.
So it's different from barter in that way. That it's about everyone in the group. So the best thing for people at home to do is to try to imagine if you have 50 members. Right now we have about 14. That's kind of the reason I'm on the show, is to promote this. I'm trying to get to 50. 50 is the magic number at which the time bank kind of runs itself, because when you go, say I did 5 hours of work for somebody, I like yard work, I teach languages, you tend to offer things in the time bank that you like to do, not necessarily your job. If you have an accountant that does accounting 40 hours a week, well, does he really want to be doing extra accounting on the side for time dollars? Maybe not. When you get that call, you want to be happy you got that call,
Right.
So, where was I? So
an accountant.
Oh yes,
want to be accountant.
Oh yes. So you wanted to. So
I can relate to this guy, because if I'm putting in windows all day, I just don't feel like going over the match.
Oh, we got 2 more windows. Do you mind?
Exactly.
Yeah. So you got 50. Oh, okay. So you got 50 people in the group. So you say I build up 5 hours. You get 50 people in the group offering 2 or 3 kind of diverse services. That's 100 or 150 different services. There's probably going to be something in that list that I want or need.
Right.
Especially if people are struggling. Well, speaking of a carpenter, I'll tell you an example of a guy for whom time banking really worked. Arguably the best time bank in the state is the Gloucester time. Well, it's the Cape Ann Time Bank. They serve Gloucester, Rockport, all those areas. And they're good because they just log in thousands of hours every year, thousands of hours of service, this sort of a little bit of this underground economy. There was a carpenter, he happened to be the brother of the girl who did the event at the Gulu, was working like 15 hours a week, barely surviving, you know, life was hard, every bill that arrived was scary, you know. And through the time bank, he started doing jobs for people for time dollars for things he needed, you know, maybe, again, like web design or somebody to weatherize his basement, who knows, you know. And then he got a good reputation, and then he started getting work for money. And then now
word of mouth.
Yeah, word of mouth, you know, and now he's booked, and that's what a lot of different business people could do. I mean, I know, I just came from the gym. I do a little Thai kickboxing, whatever, and there's a couple of young guys that just got their certification. They don't have many private students, but they would love to have private students, and they could be. I'm trying to get them to be a part of the time bank, offer their training for an hour, which will be at a premium 5 years from now. But for now, they could offer it and then build up their clientele and get some things they need to get their business going. So,
well, I'm trying to figure out the ironically, you know, you say timeshare, time banking,
yeah.
barter system. Like I say, when I saw the article in the Gazette,
yeah,
I thought the idea was fantastic right away.
Yeah.
I mean, but then I'm saying to myself, you know, how, you know, you trying to build this this base,
Yeah.
and 14 people. It seems like, you know, you're having a difficult time building the base.
Yeah.
And I just want to remind my friends at home that you know, the phone number's up there. If you have any questions about this, believe me, folks, it's really worth looking into. You know, you must love things at home where you don't have to pay out in cash. But another thing I read in this book, which the seniors are very special to Salem Now.
Yeah.
And there's a lot here for the seniors.
Oh, there's tons. I mean, if you have somebody, say you have somebody who's 70 years old, they're at home, they had a stroke and they can't work. They can't hold a regular job. So they're at home alone and lonely and getting depressed, and of course people's health is affected by depression and isolation and all that. And but they can still do some things, you know, but they need a vehicle to do those things. Maybe they like to sew, maybe they could show a young kid how to read. So through the time bank, they could join and maybe do 5 hours a week or something of sewing or cooking or whatever.
Pet sitting.
Yeah. And then things that might be easy for them, but that aren't easy for other people, you know. And then in return get some services they need, and then they're a part of the economy, and they're part of the world again, and their families don't have to worry about them quite as much. This is something that's been going on in England. There's a time bank over there called the Rushy Green Time Bank. If you're at home and wanted to look it up, there was a doctor that studied patients that were in the time bank and outside of the time bank, and found that seniors could build their health in two ways through the time bank. One, through the exchanging of services and staying, you know, active and working, and two, you get somebody that's old and that's trying to maintain or even build their health. They want to eat the right thing, they want to exercise, but the exercise revolution happened kind of after they were in their prime. So they want to get healthier and exercise, but they don't really know how.
Right.
They can talk to other seniors and compare notes. You know, they can use one of their hours to say, well, why don't you tell me about, you know, this gym? Spend an hour telling me about this gym you joined, or spend an hour telling me about the different, you know, personal trainers you went to see, or spend an hour telling me about any other health issue you might have, or medications you've tried, you know. So a lot of times the hour can be things that aren't really a part of the mainstream economy. Like you said, just pet sitting, watching a pet for an hour,
right.
A ride to the airport, you know, something like that.
Well, I see, you know, you're pet sitting for somebody.
Yeah.
And a lot of seniors, I mean, it's well known out there that seniors have a hard time deciding whether to purchase medicine or food because they can't afford both.
Yeah.
And at the same time, they may have a leaky roof.
Yeah.
They may have all these other wonderful things that happen to homes that unexpectedly. That's a way that we'll say the carpenter's wife or they need their dog sat, or the carpenter's wife needs sewing done.
Yeah.
You know, that leaky roof I just talked about, that's a way of again, time banking these time dollars,
Yeah.
and getting the carpenter to come and take care of the leak in that roof.
Yeah, I mean, I think in the old days, that's what neighbors used to do for each other, but that's really not the case anymore.
Well, that's when they used to get along.
People are walking around looking at their phones.
Yeah,
they're
I know.
They're not worrying about their neighbors so much.
Yeah, yeah. Well, we won't go. That's a different. That's a different show.
That's a different show.
Right.
I
have
get that dig in.
Yeah. No, I'm glad you did. But I have to refrain myself from being sidetracked because I can get into that.
Yeah.
But no, it sounds. And you even have education-wise.
Yeah.
I see you have a chapter in that in the book.
Yeah, we actually, 3 of the 14 members have a background in education. We have one woman who taught elementary education. She's certified to, I think 4 to 6 readings. So kids 8, 9, 10 years old, she has a lot of experience teaching kids how to read. I think we have a few kids in Salem who are having a hard time with that. I did remedial reading myself, so we talked about that a little bit. We have another girl that does academic counseling. She does it professionally for girls in Lynn, I think teenage girls, but she could do it she's done it at the college level, and she could do that for students here. So I'm taking a course at Salem State now, so I'm trying to get the Salem Time Bank started as a club. Over there, you get 4 students that want to join, it becomes a club. So that's a resource they could take advantage of. And then there's another woman, so I think we have 2 former elementary school teachers and 1 elementary or middle school counselors. So we have really smart, qualified people that really want to get this going, and they might want. Actually, I think in one case she wants help in her vegetable garden in return when she gets a few time dollars. And I'm not sure what the other ones want, but I'm sure.
So I mean, you get the $1 dollar.
Yeah.
We'll say, and let's stay with the garden. And this teacher calls up one of these time. Is that what they do? They make the phone call? Or
well, you offer services. It's kind of like, to join.
Like a bulletin board type of deal where you look at
you
the services.
You get a profile and everything, and it's this is all through Time Bank's we're an affiliate of Time Banks USA, and through them we have this this website that you gain access to after you do an orientation. Before you join, you have to do an orientation with me for about 45 minutes. We go through all the protocol and safety and the way everything's done, and about references and things like that, and safety and all that. So,
okay, does that mean that it's not just for Salem? Say somebody a service you needed. This person will say that the service that he or she can provide lives in Danvers.
Well, I keep it just to people who live, work, or study in Salem.
Okay.
And then for now, just because I figure Salem's a small enough town, I'll probably know somebody who knows them, or I could find somebody who knows them, just because. Also, there's also a Time Bank in Lynn, and I don't want to be treading on their territory. They do a little different. They have a little different focus than I do.
Do they stay primarily in Lynn?
Well, they have a pretty large territory, actually. It goes from Lynn to New Hampshire, in their words, to it's so large. But they have federal money. I think at least they used to have federal money. I think they used to be sponsored by Vista, and their focus was a little bit more.
No, it sounds like their membership might be larger.
The membership was about 300 actually, but
in Lynn.
But I don't know how many of them did the orientations, and I don't know how many of them paid dues. I just say $5 a year just to know that people are serious, because it does take a lot of my time.
Right, I don't blame you.
Yeah.
And it doesn't, and it's not a lot of money, but at the same time, that's what we're talking about here. We're talking money versus no money.
Right.
We're talking about not paying cash, folks.
Yeah.
You hear what I'm saying? You're not paying cash. You're not reaching into your wallet. Yeah. And at the same time, I know another thing, too, that I read in here is it's a good way to show off your talents, and especially if you enjoy doing, like you mentioned earlier about the teacher in the garden.
Yeah.
A lot of people love the garden.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people myself, even in my family. I think it's something perfect for them.
Yeah.
Providing, of course, if they can find a service.
Yeah.
But it sounds like they'd be ready to jump at it.
Yeah, I love working in the garden. So if I go do 5 hours for somebody, then I'm happy. And then I personally, if I get time dollars, I use those time dollars to get somebody else to do something for the Time Bank to get this thing going a little bit.
Right. Now the 14 people you have, are they all active?
Not really. I mean, they're trading a little bit. but barely. I mean, and so I'm calling them. I'm trying to get them to trade with each other, but it's hard. Like I said, again, the magic number is 50. I'm really trying to get to. Now, when I had the opening event, about 42 people came to that event specifically to sign, to give their information and their phone number, and a lot of people. And the website has had huge amounts of traffic, like over 100,000 hits. You know, but I'm just not getting the people that are. And I tried to get a table at the farmers market, and that didn't. They didn't grant me a table at the farmers market. So I've been trying everything to try to get people to just join and start trading. So I've learned how to do newsletters. So I'll be sending out a weekly newsletter. I'm a little more free now that I finished this book, and then
Yeah, but and that'd be another way too. I mean, some people, what they do is they just charge a fee to join whatever it may be, XYZ.
Yeah.
And part of the fee is an annual, whatever it is, $3, $5 to receive these how many of a newsletters.
Yeah.
To keep you informed.
Yeah.
You're still part of the bank if you want to opt out to get into the newsletters.
Yeah.
But it sounds like another way to. I mean, I totally agree with you. You
Yeah.
want to keep in touch with these people, and because you don't know where you're going,
Yeah.
what's happening, and it's hard for you. It must be hard for you to keep track. As far as, I mean, your website, does that, I mean,
Well, the website does record the trades and the hours, so I can see who's trading with who, or who's not trading, or who hasn't updated their profile, all those things. So basically, I've been adding about a member every 2 weeks. Then I have to do the orientations myself.
Right.
So, yeah, the other reason I want to get to more people is so we can have what's called a leadership team. Any time bank worth its salt has a leadership team that meets once a month.
Right.
And they talk about every issue that might come up, and they actually get a time dollar for that meeting.
Right.
And then everyone's fine with that. If there's enough people, then it makes sense, and it's not a strain on. You know.
All right. Well, I just got the bad news from my control room. We only have a couple of minutes left. To sum it up.
Yeah.
To sum it up, Matthew. What would you number one give that email address out?
Or the website?
I mean the website.
It's timebanksalem.org. It's timebanksalem.org. It's a good website that has a lot of links. Is it now the time to summarize what the?
You have a couple of minutes to.
Okay, yeah, I'll just run down the. Okay, number one, it's like a barter organization, except that the trades are between everyone in the group. In other words, I log in 5 hours. I can take 5 hours back from anyone. Number two is that we're the seventh time bank in the state. It's part of the local economy movement. It's kind of there with farmers markets. It's there with local banks, banks investing money locally. It's part of the attempt by a lot of people in different communities to try to keep money here locally and working locally and bring back the old community. It's a very important part of that. It can be very important for people networking, getting their business going. It can be good for families. If families have maybe a wife or husband that's not working, wants to log in 5 hours, get some services for the family. It can be really good for older people that want to become a part of the economy. I would be trying to reach out to some of the independent living facilities here in Salem. That's part of the program for the winter. And ideally, my hope is that at some point it can involve the younger people too.
Right.
You get a kid at a vocational school, and maybe he could do a couple hours, and then in return, maybe somebody that has some experience in the trades could give him a couple hours of their time, show him a couple things. So the sky's the limit. The whole point is it's an attempt to bring back the neighbor helping neighbor. So we're in the planning stage. We're moving forward. I just want to move forward a little faster, and that's why I'm here.
Yeah. Well, like I say, I totally support this.
Yeah.
To show you people, what we like to call our Salem Now viewing family at home.
Yeah.
They know where they're for them and them only, to prove to them how serious I am about your organization. I think it would work. I think it's, for some people might still be questioning it out there. I encourage them to go to his website. And look into it further. Believe me, folks, you're not paying any of that. And I really would like for them to check. And you say barter system, you keep trying to squeeze out of that a little bit, but it does come back. For myself, folks at home, I look at it as a barter system. And Matthew is 100% correct. it does bring you back to what our favorite days, the old days, where people really got along and helped each other, neighbors to neighbor, no locks on the doors, and it was a lot safer and a lot more friendly than it is today. You want to dispute me on the show about it? If it isn't, just call me, email me, however you want to come and try to prove me wrong. You're very welcome to sit right here where Matthew is. But we'll get to the point. Matthew, I was thinking 2013, which is not very far from now. I'd like to bring you back and talk about this again. And try to help you promote this because it really is a fantastic idea for getting something, especially this economy.
Oh yeah, it's the perfect.
This is like getting millions of dollars, but you just don't see the green.
Yeah, the website I gave you has all sorts of links for what different time banks are doing and movies and little shorts and everything.
He has it up on the screen right now,
yeah.
but we're going to say it again. What is it?
TimeBankSalem.org.
All right.
Yeah.
Matthew, I want to thank you for coming. Like I say, this is the longest I think I've ever spent with you.
Yeah.
But I really enjoy your company every time we do, and you'll come back, right?
Absolutely.
All right.
Hopefully I'll have some good news. We'll be up to 30, 40
Well,
members.
that's what I'm hoping for.
Yeah.
I'm hoping Salem Now, like we always do, we're here for everybody, and we're hoping that we can help you out. And I really, on this one particular, I hope it really pans out for you. And I really think if people pay attention and go to his website, I think you might find, and I'd like to find out it was Salem Now that drove him to your house.
Yeah.
So
It'll be a little feather in your cap, you know.
Yeah, I got enough of them. I had to dust them off. But all right, and for my friends at home, I hope you enjoyed Matthew Frazier tonight. His book, Ideas for America, Let the Sun In, by Matthew J. Frazier. I encourage you. It has a lot of information. And believe me, folks, if I could read it and figure it out, I know you can. So again, until the next Salem Now special, I hope you enjoyed tonight. You know, we truly love you, folks. Until next time, good night, take care, and bye for now. Thank you, Matt.
Thank you.
All right, buddy.